រៀបសួរសូមស្វាគមន៍មក Channel ខ្ញុំម្ដងទៀតចាអញ្ចឹងថ្ងៃនេះខ្ញុំមានចំណុចមួយសំខាន់ដែរដែលខ្ញុំចង់លើកមកចែកចាយដល់បងប្អូនទាំងអស់គ្នាចាអញ្ចឹងគឺចំណុចនេះគឺចង់និយាយពីសារៈសំខាន់ដែលថាត្រូវមានលោកគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំខ្លួនឬក៏គ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំគ្រួសារអង់គ្លេសគេហៅថា Primary Care Provider ឬក៏ PCP ចាពីព្រោះនៅសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកយើងនេះគឺមនុស្សគ្រប់រូបគឺត្រូវចាំបាច់ត្រូវតែមានលោកគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំខ្លួនចាគឺគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំខ្លួននេះគឺវាមានសារៈសំខាន់ហើយថាតើមានសារៈសំខាន់អ្វីខ្លះទៅចាគឺបើយើងប្រៀបធៀបទៅថានៅស្រុកខ្មែរយើងកាលពីមុនឥឡូវខ្ញុំអត់ដឹងទេណាកាលពីមុនគឺមានន័យថាយើងមានគ្រូពេទ្យតែមួយប្រចាំគ្រួសារគឺគាត់មើលជំងឺយើងគ្រប់យ៉ាងទាំងអស់គាត់វាយថ្នាំឲ្យគ្រប់យ៉ាងទាំងអស់ប៉ុន្តែនៅស្រុកនេះគឺគេអត់ធ្វើបែបហ្នឹងទេគឺនៅស្រុកនេះគឺគេត្រូវមនុស្សគ្រប់រូបដែលនៅស្រុកនេះគឺត្រូវតែមានគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំខ្លួនគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំខ្លួនយើងអាចជ្រើសរើសព្រោះមានពេទ្យច្រើនហើយកន្លែងក៏ច្រើនដែរអញ្ចឹងយើងអាចជ្រើសរើសយកកន្លែងណាមួយហើយពេទ្យណាមួយដែលយើងពេញចិត្តទុកជាលោកគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំខ្លួនរបស់យើងឬក៏បើសិនណាយើងមានកូនតូចមានន័យថា8 ដល់ 10ឡើងអានឹងយើងអាចជ្រើសរើសជាមួយពេទ្យនឹងជាមួយឪពុកម្ដាយបានណាតែបើសិនណាកូននឹងក្រោមអាយុ8 ដល់ 10គេអាចយកពេទ្យនឹងជាមួយយើងបានទេគឺពេទ្យគេត្រូវរើសយកពេទ្យកុមារវិញចាក្រោម8 ដល់ 10គឺគេអត់លាយឡំគ្នាពីព្រោះអាយុ8 ដល់ 10ឡើងគេមើលព្យាបាលរបៀបមនុស្សធំប៉ុន្តែក្រោម8 ដល់ 10គេព្យាបាលរបៀបកូនក្មេងចាអញ្ចឹងគឺវាមានសារៈសំខាន់យើងត្រូវជ្រើសរើសគ្រូពេទ្យមួយសម្រាប់ប្រចាំខ្លួនឬក៏ប្រចាំគ្រួសារពីព្រោះពេទ្យប្រចាំខ្លួននេះគឺមានន័យថាគឺគាត់សំខាន់សម្រាប់យើងពីព្រោះគាត់មើលការខុសត្រូវទៅដល់អ្នកជំងឺដូចជាយើងជាបុគ្គលម្នាក់នេះដើម្បីជួយឲ្យសុខភាពយើងល្អមាំមួនចាអញ្ចឹងគឺយើងត្រូវជ្រើសរើសរកគ្រូពេទ្យណាមួយដែលនៅជិតផ្ទះយើងហើយយើងទៅពេទ្យហ្នឹងទៅទោះបីយើងមិនឈឺក៏ដោយក៏យើងត្រូវតែជ្រើសយកពេទ្យមួយហើយទៅជួបគេយ៉ាងហោចហ្នឹងក៏បានម្ដងដែរហេតុដែលខ្ញុំនិយាយបែបនេះគឺដោយសារអីគឺដោយសារថាយើងទៅជួបពេទ្យឲ្យហើយដើម្បីឲ្យស្គាល់មុខគ្នាមានមជីជាមួយគេស្រាប់ចាការពារជាជាងថាដល់ពេលយើងឈឺយើងសវេសវាចាពេលឈឺសវេសវាវាយ៉ាប់ហើយចាយើងអញ្ចឹងទៅជួបគេក៏គេមិនជួបយើងដែរពីព្រោះអីតែសវេសវាអញ្ចឹងគេបញ្ជូនយើងទៅពេទ្យធំហើយគេអត់មើលទេប៉ុន្តែគឺសំខាន់យើងត្រូវជ្រើសរើសទុកជាមុនហើយយើងត្រូវទៅជួបគេទោះបីយើងមិនឈឺក៏ដោយហើយដល់ពេលយើងទៅជួបកន្លែងលោកគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំគ្រួសារឬប្រចាំខ្លួនយើងទៅដល់ដំបូងនៅស្រុកនេះអូយกระดาษស្នាមច្រើនណាស់មកឡើងមកដុំចឹងហ្មងឲ្យយើងបំពេញសួរនាំអស់ហើយតាំងពីប្រវត្តិសុខភាពរបស់យើងផ្ទាល់យើងធ្លាប់ឈឺអីមានរោគគាអីតាំងពីពេលណាសប្តាហ៍ថ្ងៃពេលបច្ចុប្បន្នប្រើថ្នាំអីគឺសួរយើងហោហែទាំងអស់ហើយមិនត្រឹមតែប៉ុណ្ណោះគឺសួរយើងពីប្រវត្តិបងប្អូនក្រុមគ្រួសារកូនចៅរបស់យើងថាមាននរណាមានរោគគាអីខ្លះហើយគេប្រើថ្នាំអីយូរអង្វែងប៉ុណ្ណាគឺសម្បើមមែនដែលថាគេត្រូវសួរយើងណាចាប៉ុន្តែបំពេញឲ្យគេចោះពីព្រោះអីយើងបំពេញទុកអញ្ចឹងទៅដើម្បីការពារងាយស្រួលទៅថ្ងៃមុខចាទៅថ្ងៃមុខពេលណាយើងឈឺគឺមជីរបស់យើងនៅក្នុងប្រព័ន្ធរបស់គេស្រេចអញ្ចឹងវាអត់សូវមានផលពិបាកចាអញ្ចឹងចាំតិចទៀតខ្ញុំនឹងបន្ថែមខាងចំណុចនឹងម្ដងទៀតណាបន្តិចទៀតចាប៉ុន្តែអ្វីដែលថាវាមានសារៈសំខាន់ចំពោះគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំហ្នឹងគឺមានន័យថានៅពេលណាដែលយើងឈឺធម្មតាគឺយើងអាចទៅពេទ្យប្រចាំរបស់យើងបានយើងដាក់ណាត់ទៅយើងមិនមែនចេះតែដើរទៅបានទេយើងត្រូវតែដាក់ណាត់ទុកមុនអញ្ចឹងយើងដាក់ណាត់ហើយយើងទៅជួបគេអញ្ចឹងគេមើលខុសត្រូវសុខភាពប្រចាំកាយរបស់យើងដើម្បីឲ្យយើងមានសុខភាពល្អហើយបើសិនណាគេត្រូវការបើកថ្នាំយោងទៅតាមអ្វីដែលគេរកឃើញគេនឹងបើកថ្នាំឲ្យទៅតាមហ្នឹងតែបើសិនណាគេគិតទៅគេថារោគគាយើងគេមើលមិនបានទេពីព្រោះលោកគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំគ្រួសារនៅស្រុកនេះដូចខ្ញុំនិយាយចឹងគឺគាត់គេហៅថាគ្រូពេទ្យទូទៅដែលមើលជំងឺទូទៅ គាត់មិនមែនជាពេទ្យឯកទេសទេគាត់ដឹងរោគទូទៅប៉ុន្តែដឹងមធ្យមមិនមែនដឹងដល់ដំណាក់កាលពេទ្យឯកទេសទេចឹងដូចជាឧទាហរណ៍ថាបើសិនណាយើងទៅជួបពេទ្យមើលសុខភាពទូទៅហើយយើងអូនត្អែប្រាប់គាត់ថាខ្ញុំកាពះខ្ញុំអត់សូវស្រួលទេចេះតែចុកពោះចេះតែឆ្អល់ដូចអត់រំលាយអាហារហើយពិបាកបាត់ជើងឧទាហរណ៍អីចឹងណាចាអញ្ចឹងគ្រូពេទ្យហ្នឹងគាត់បើកថ្នាំថាឲ្យសម្រួលលាមកអីចឹងទៅហើយផុតប៉ុណ្ណឹងទៅគាត់នឹងធ្វើกระดาษស្នាមបញ្ជូនទៅពេទ្យឯកទេសខាងរោគកាពះចាអញ្ចឹងបញ្ជូនទៅពេទ្យកាពះអញ្ចឹងទៅគាត់ធ្វើกระดาษស្នាមគាត់ដាក់ឈ្មោះគាត់បញ្ជូនថាខ្ញុំបញ្ជូនអ្នកជំងឺនេះទៅពេទ្យខាងឯកទេសខាងកាពះអញ្ចឹងគឺបញ្ជូនពឹបគេខាងនោះក៏បានទទួលហើយខាងនោះគេបានទទួលกระดาษស្នាមលោកគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំរបស់យើងគេបញ្ជូនទៅគេផ្ញើឲ្យគេខាងនោះគេតំណតំណងមកដើម្បីដាក់ណាត់ឲ្យយើងទៅជួបគេហើយចាអញ្ចឹងគឺបែបហ្នឹងពីព្រោះពេទ្យកាពះគេឯកទេសខាងកាពះគេមើលតែកាពះហេកុំទៅដល់កន្លែងពេទ្យកាពះសួរគេថាអូភ្នែកខ្ញុំស្វាំងខ្ញុំមើលអត់ឃើញទេឬក៏ខ្ញុំឈឺត្រចៀកគេអត់អាចជួយយើងបានទេហ៊ានតែយើងថាបែបហ្នឹងគេនឹងថាខ្ញុំធ្វើกระดาษស្នាមបញ្ជូនអ្នកឯងទៅពេទ្យត្រចៀកចាឬក៏ពេទ្យអីចឹងទៅពីព្រោះអីគេចំណុចមួយណាទៅឯកទេសរបស់គេមើលតែចំណុចឯកទេសប៉ុណ្ណឹងទេគេមិនអាចថាទៅមើលរំលងទេណាចាពេទ្យនៅស្រុកនេះគេធ្វើក្បួនបែបហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងនិយាយបកក្រោយមកវិញគឺគ្រាន់តែចង់បញ្ជាក់ប្រាប់ថាគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំគ្រួសារយើងនេះគឺប្រៀបធៀបដែលខ្ញុំគិតមើលទៅមិនដឹងថាមានពាក្យអីដែលនិយាយប្រៀបធៀបឲ្យល្អប្រៀបធៀបដូចជាថាគេថាពេទ្យប្រចាំគ្រួសារដូចជាពេទ្យពុកម៉ែយើងចឹងចាដូចជាពីព្រោះយើងឈឺអីយើងទៅរកគាត់មុនគេហើយផុតពីហ្នឹងទៅអ្វីដែលគាត់មើលមិនបានមិនជាគាត់បញ្ជូនទៅពេទ្យឯកទេសចឹងបានអង់គ្លេសគេថា they are the go to person ចាយើងឈឺអីយើងទៅរកគេមុនដូចជាពេទ្យពុកម៉ែយើងចឹងចាវាយើងគាត់សន្តានតែអញ្ចឹងណាចាអញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំថាសំខាន់យើងត្រូវតែមានឈ្មោះនៅជាមួយគេនឹងសិនចាហើយនៅពេលយើងទៅជួបពេទ្យមើលសុខភាពទូទៅបងប្អូនសូមកុំឲ្យភ្លេចយក business card គេមកចាយកប័ណ្ណគេមកមួយមកព្រោះនៅលើនោះវាមានសារៈសំខាន់ខ្ញុំឃើញបងប្អូនខ្មែរយើងជាច្រើនដែលថាទៅពេទ្យហើយអត់យកកាតពេទ្យមកមួយសោះហើយដល់ពេលទៅហើយដល់ពេលមកកន្លែងផ្សេងគេសួរថាគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំគ្រួសាររបស់អ្នកឯងពេទ្យប្រចាំខ្លួនឈ្មោះអីខ្ញុំអត់ដឹងគាត់នៅកន្លែងពេទ្យហ្នឹងម្ដុំហ្នឹងគេហៅអីអត់ដឹងចុះលេខទូរស័ព្ទមានលេខទូរស័ព្ទគេបើថាមិនគេទេទៅសួរអត់ដឹងกระดาษស្នាមអីដែលគេឲ្យមកយកដាក់ធុងសារ៉ាំភ្លោកអត់ຕົកមើលចាអញ្ចឹងគេអត់ដឹងអីទាំងអស់ចឹងបានសំខាន់យើងត្រូវយកកាតរបស់លោកគ្រូពេទ្យណាយើងទៅជួបយកមកមួយមកឲ្យទុកចាព្រោះអីអ្វីដែលខ្ញុំធ្លាប់អ្វីដែលខ្ញុំធ្លាប់ជួបប្រទះណាគឺនៅពេលអ្នកជំងឺខ្មែរយើងគាត់ទៅពេទ្យធំដល់ពេលគាត់អត់មានគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំហើយដល់ពេលពេទ្យធំគេសួរថាពេទ្យប្រចាំរបស់អ្នកឯងឈ្មោះអីនៅ office គាត់នៅម្ដុំណាពេលយើងឆ្លើយថាខ្ញុំអត់មានផងអាហ្នឹងនៅស្រុកនេះដូចរបៀបគេស្រឡាំងកាំងអញ្ចឹងណាចាអត់មានអញ្ចឹងទៅវាមានផលវិបាកដូចថាធ្វើឲ្យការព្យាបាលនឹងវាយឺតយ៉ាវបន្តិចណាចាអញ្ចឹងគឺបើយើងនិយាយឲ្យចំទៅយើងអត់មានគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំខ្លួនហើយយើងទៅពេទ្យធំធ្វើឲ្យគេធ្វើឲ្យយើងមានអារម្មណ៍ប្រៀបធៀបដូចជាយើងជាគេហៅថាកូនអនាថាអញ្ចឹងដូចកូនអត់ម៉ែអញ្ចឹងពេទ្យដែលថាប្រចាំខ្លួនប្រៀបធៀបដូចជាពេទ្យឪពុកម្ដាយយើងអញ្ចឹងជាឪពុកម្ដាយយើងចាតែបើយើងអត់មានឪពុកម្ដាយបញ្ជូនយើងទៅយើងជាទៅស្លុងអញ្ចឹងដូចថាមានអារម្មណ៍វាខុសប្លែកណាចាអញ្ចឹងបានសំខាន់គេត្រូវការឲ្យមានអញ្ចឹងដើម្បីពួកគេតំណតំណងគ្នាដើម្បីជួយទៅដល់យើងជាបុគ្គលជាអ្នកជំងឺដើម្បីឲ្យការដែលថាគេព្យាបាលហ្នឹង វាហានតិចហើយងាយស្រួលគេដឹងថាអូអ្នកឯងមានបញ្ហារោគនេះដោយសារពីយោងទៅតាមប្រវត្តិរបស់អ្នកឯងមានចេះហ្នឹងហើយវាងាយស្រួលគេប្រាប់យើងជួយមើលថែយើងបានតាន់ពេលវេលាហើយមិនត្រឹមតែប៉ុណ្ណោះដល់ពេលយើងចេញពីពេទ្យធំមកគឺអញ្ចឹងគេនឹងអាចបញ្ជូនសំណុំរឿងនេះថាទៅប្រាប់លោកគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំរបស់យើងថាអ្នកជំងឺនេះឯងបានមកពេទ្យខ្ញុំឥឡូវនេះខ្ញុំបានព្យាបាលគេឥឡូវគេមានរោគនេះឥឡូវអ្នកឯងបន្តព្យាបាលគេឲ្យផងចាគឺសំខាន់គឺគេមានតំណែងអញ្ចឹងដើម្បីឲ្យហើយគេច្រើននឹងរំលឹកយើងទៀតដោយសារចំណុចមួយទៀតដែលខ្ញុំភ្លេចប្រាប់ហ្នឹងគឺមានន័យថាពេលយើងចេញពីពេទ្យធំហើយលោកគ្រូពេទ្យនៅកន្លែងពេទ្យធំគេច្រើនតែរំលឹកប្រាប់យើងថាអ្នកកុំភ្លេចដាក់ណាត់ទៅជួបលោកគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំគ្រួសារអ្នកឯងក្នុងពី3ថ្ងៃទៀតឬមួយអាទិត្យទៀតដើម្បីឲ្យគេតាមដានពីអាការៈហ្នឹងម្ដងទៀតណាចាតែបើយើងអត់មានសោះអាហ្នឹងគឺវាពិបាកបន្តិចប៉ុន្តែវាមិនគេហៅថាធ្វើMKដែរគេនឹងយកกระดาษស្នាមមកមានរាយជាច្រើនដល់គ្រូពេទ្យដែលថាមើលសុខភាពទូទៅយើងអាចជ្រើសរើសមួយនៅក្នុងกระดาษគេអញ្ចឹងណាដើម្បីយកជាពេទ្យប្រចាំខ្លួនគេនឹងឲ្យកระดาษយើងហើយយើងត្រូវជ្រើសរើសយកមួយទៅថាពេទ្យមួយណានៅជិតផ្ទះយើងជ្រើសយកមួយហើយដាក់ណាត់ទៅជួបគេអញ្ចឹងទៅមកជាដដែលដែលយើងត្រូវចាំបាច់ត្រូវតែមានលោកគ្រូពេទ្យប្រចាំគ្រួសារចាហើយសម្រាប់ចំណុចនេះខ្ញុំមានតែប៉ុណ្្នឹងចង់ចែកចាយទៅដល់បងប្អូនហើយបើសិនណាបងប្អូនមានយោបល់អីអាច comment នៅខាងក្រោមនេះមកឬក៏មានចំណុចមួយណាដែលថាចង់ឲ្យខ្ញុំលើកយកមកនិយាយសម្រាប់លើកក្រោយចាសូមមេត្តាជួយ comment ពីក្រោមដូចគ្នា Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dani, and today we're going to talk about the importance of having a primary care provider, or for short, PCP. Why is it so important, you may ask? Primary care provider, or also known as your family doctor, are the doctors who manages your day-to-day healthcare needs. Now, when you select one that's close to your house, you go to that office and they would have you fill out lots and lots of information about you, information about your family history, what kind of conditions they may have, whether it's high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol. Those are all important that you let your family provider know that either you have that or your family, your mom and dad has that. It's very important to have all those health history answered, the questionnaires, all those questionnaires be answered so that they can keep it in your file. And it's very helpful if you're sick, you go to them. It's so much easier that they can easily diagnose you based upon your history. The family doctor, they manage your day-to-day medical needs, your medications. If you have a need for medications, that primary doctor is the one that will prescribe you the medications that you need. So they are the to-go person. Or they are the go-to person per se. So it's good to establish care with one of them, especially when you're not sick. Establish care with a doctor before you are sick. The primary doctor treats you when you're sick, and they help you get more advanced care when you need it. They also provide you with preventative medications if need be. So they are your go-to person. it's good to establish care with the primary doctor in advance before you become ill, rather to wait and not have a primary care provider. And then when you do become ill, then you don't know what to do. It's really hard. If you're sick and then you're trying to find a doctor, it's really hard. So it's best to establish one before you become sick, and then go to them. And if you need referrals, they also will do the referrals on your behalf. For example, if you have issues with your GI, they will refer you to the GI doctor. If you have issues with your eyes, your ears, nose, your throat, they will refer you to those specialists, which we call the specialists, specializing in those individuals. Where the primary doctor, they're not specialized doctor, they are considered a general doctor. They know just about a little bit of everything, but they're not specialized in anything. So that's why they have to refer you if you are sick. If you have, like I said, if you have issue with your stomach, they refer you to see a stomach doctor, your GI doctor. If you have issues with your eyes, they send you to the eye doctor. If you have issue with your throat, your primary care provider can check your throat and can tell you whether it's inflamed or whatnot, but they don't have the equipment to go further to check for you. So they have to refer you to the throat doctor, the ears, the nose, the mental health, whatever the needs are. They is your go-to person. They are your go-to person to refer you to all of those specialty doctors. If you have issues with your skin, they can refer you to the skin doctor, to the dermatologist. So that's why it's important to have them on your side and to have one. And also, when you do have one primary care provider, make sure you take their business card. Take their business card so that this way you would never forget their first and last name, the name of the medical facility they're from, and you have all of the address, phone number, the fax on there. Just create a good habit in picking one up when you do go to see any doctor, because you're not going to remember everyone that you see. But the most important doctor that you must know, first, last name, address, phone number, or the name of that facility, is your primary doctor. So again, I talk about a specialty doctor. If you have issues with your stomach, for example, you can't just say bypass the primary care provider and say, I'm just going to walk straight and find a clinic with a doctor that specializes in stomach issues. You can't just walk in. This is America. That's not how they operate. You have to have a primary care provider refer you to it, unless if you have a different insurance plan called PPO, that's possibly that they will accept you. But for the most part, they prefer a referral from the primary care provider, so that they'll be able to see you, and then they can send the records of what the findings from about your stomach to the primary care provider, because they work hand in hand with each other. And also, when you're another important thing about having a primary care provider, primary care doctor, is that when you're sick in the hospital, they can come visit you. It makes, when you're sick in the hospital and then you see familiar faces, especially your own doctor that comes to visit you in the hospital, it makes you feel so important. It just makes you feel so good, so important, that he or she cares for you. It's a great feeling to have that. And then this way, they keep up to date about your health. whatever's happened to you and why you ended up in the hospital. So for example, let's just say if you don't have a primary care provider and you're really sick, and then you went straight to the emergency room. Now, when you get to the emergency room, the doctors or nurses there, the first thing they ask you is, who is your primary care provider? And you're like, I don't have one. How do I get one? Okay, so that kind of changed the story a little bit, because now just by you answering that you don't have a primary care provider, now they don't know anything about you. Now you're very brand new to the hospital, so they have no records of you, of your history, about yourself, what you've had done in the past, any surgeries, any medications you take, anything that you're allergic to. They don't have anything to look at. So now you're really sick. That's why you went to the emergency room in the first place. And then now you have to answer all the questions so that they can at least have something about you. So they have to ask you your first, last name, your address, what insurance you have, what kind of sickness you have. You have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, any surgeries, what you're allergic to, your mom, your dad, your family history, your side of the family. So all those things can be very overwhelming, and it can get you really, I guess, upset, and it slows down the treatment time. Because why? They need to take some history in order to know how to diagnose you based upon why you're there, what kind of sickness you have. So it just kind of delayed the diagnosis time and the treatment time. That's the only thing. And then after they treat you, they don't know who to send the report to. You see? So it's, especially here in America, that's what I experienced, that have a primary care provider, so you don't end up having a much harder time in the hospital. Because, and if you look at emergency room, it's a place for something that is very emergent, that is life-threatening. That's why you go to the emergency room. What is considered life-threatening? If you got shot, stabbed, bleed to death, or sometimes I see people trying to commit suicide, cut their wrists, or whatever that's considered life-threatening. That's what the emergency room is for. But if it's something minor, oh, I have issue with my stomach, oh, I have issue with my eyes, I can't see too well, I need glasses, that's not a place where you go to the emergency room for. At least not in America. That's not what you go there for, because then they say, I'm sorry, we can't help you. We'll do a quick vision test, but we'll refer you out to an eye doctor. We'll refer you out to a stomach doctor, so then they can look in the camera. We don't have all that equipment here. You see how it can delay your time? But if you have a primary care provider, if you have issues with those things, they refer you out, and then you can get treated on time instead of a delay. But you know, I'm not saying that you can't go to emergency room when you need to. Yeah, when you need to, you need to. You know, if your life depends on it, you go. You know, I'm not telling you not to go, but it's not a place where you start. You know, that's where I'm getting at. And another thing is, if you have a primary care provider, all of your information these days are online. The clinics and the hospitals, they work together, so they can tap into your medical records and they can see what's going on, and then they ask you a few more basic questions just to confirm everything. So to me, without having a primary care provider, it's almost like being an orphan. It's almost like you don't have parents that you're accountable to, that you have to answer to. It's almost like that to me. So that's why in this country and in America, they always ask. Okay, they always ask that. Who's your primary care provider? So it's very good to keep a good relationship with your primary care provider. If you find one that you really like, stick with it. Stick with that because they are your advocates. They care about your well-being. And not just that, certain things that you go to the primary care provider for example, for the woman, they do pap smear, they do mammogram, and in general, they recommend you to do colonoscopy, endoscopy, such things like that, for example, is for preventative. Once, you know, how should I say it? Once you're able to do a few of those things, it can help protect or detect the issue earlier. So what I'm trying to say is that to have a good relationship with your primary care provider, it they help keep you healthier and lower the medical costs. That's what I'm trying to say. So for this episode, that's all I wanted to share with you. And if you have any comments or any suggestions that you would of future videos, please comment below. And I would also appreciate it if you can help support our channel by pressing the subscribe button and the bell for the notification. Appreciate that. Thank you.